Change is hard and unsettling, and it usually takes a lot of work. I don't want to do it, but I also don't want to stay where I am. And so it's looking more and more like I'm going to have to. Hey, and welcome to week 2 of my YouTube monetization journey. I hope everyone had a successful week and you are doing well. Today I have a guest. This is Leonardo DiCaprio, and he is laying on the table right by my tripod. So if there's some wiggles and jiggles this time, it's his fault, not the wind. Hi, I'm Tina. Welcome to this week 2 update of my YouTube monetization journey. I'm really happy that you're here. I decided to stay close to home and just film in my front yard. I drug my patio table under a nice shady tree and decided that the cows in the pond in the background would make a nice backdrop for this video. So my first week assignments were digging into my why, my goals, my purpose, that kind of thing. And then this week I've been kind of analyzing my content to see if it lines up with those goals. And I've realized that in some ways I've kind of strayed from that initial purpose. And in some ways my focus has changed a little bit as well. I have a couple of video series that I started either at the beginning of 2024 or right near the end of 2023. And lately, it has been a struggle to film those videos. I really just don't want to do them anymore. But I feel like I made a commitment to do these. And so does stopping them make me a quitter? Is it okay to let go of something that just really doesn't seem to be working anymore, or that I'm not enjoying? And the answers to those two questions are no and yes. No, it doesn't make me a quitter. Maybe it makes me wise. And yes, it's okay to let go and move on. In fact, I think trying something, realizing you don't like it, and then moving on is healthy. If we're looking for new hobbies, new passions, maybe new careers in this second half of our life, there's a good chance that the first thing we try isn't going to be that thing that we're looking for. In fact, I think feeling like you have to make the right choice the first time you try something new would stop you from trying anything new at all. And so I think it's important that we recognize if we've given it a good try or not, give it a good evaluation, and then move on to something else if it's not working. I just don't want to waste time doing things I don't love. Now, of course, there are things that I have to do that I don't love. I don't love cleaning toilets. That's not what I'm talking about. One of my week 2 assignments was to plan my content calendar for the month of July. And I started it. I really did. I tried. And I'm tossing it and starting over. And it was filling in the boxes with all of those have-to videos, the ones that are in a series and they come out at a certain time every month, that made me realize I don't want to do those videos. I have new, fresh ideas, and I was trying to figure out where I could put them. And there wasn't a place for them because it was already filled up with this other stuff. And so then I tried to start like doubling up. And instead of just doing my monetization video and a makeup video, I tried to see if I could squeeze in another one here and there so that I could do some of these others. And I realized in doing that, in trying to plan when I was going to film and when I was going to edit and that kind of thing, that pace would not be sustainable for me. And all of the excitement that I've been feeling over these last couple of weeks about my channel and doing new things and all of that would just be vaporized in the crush of busyness that schedule would require. By the way, I'm going to share my t-shirt with you because when I watch a video and somebody's wearing a graphic tee, I want to know what it says. And so here, let's take a look. Theater director, only because full-time multitasking ninja is not an actual job title. It was a gift from my co-director, I think back in 2016 when we did Beauty and the Beast. So I'm chucking that content calendar and I'm going back to the drawing board. My YouTube growth videos will still come out on Mondays, but I'm revamping the rest of the schedule. I already have one of those videos filmed and that's going to go up later this week. And I have another one that's filmed and mostly edited that is in one of those monthly series that I talked about. In fact, this is the one that I'm going to drop. And so I may use that video, record a new intro and outro to explain the change and also to kind of wrap that series up. This will also give me just a little bit more time to rethink things and do some further planning. So how did this whole sea change thing come about? It wasn't part of the assignment, but I decided to dig into my channel and see what my top performing videos were in the past like 6 or 7 months. I mean, if you go to anyone's channel page and you go to their video tab, you can click on most popular and see their highest performing videos. But generally, those are videos that have been around for a while because they continue to accumulate views. And so I know what those videos are, but I really wanted to see in the past 6 or 7 months, what have been my top performing videos each month. In fact, back in December, I had a really big growth month. I gained like 69 subscribers, which put me over the top to my 1,000. I had a lot of watch time. And so I went back and I just wrote down the titles of all the videos that I did and the views that they got. And I did that for each month since December. And I realized that right now I am not creating the kind of videos that I was creating that got the high views. And then I also went to some other creators in my niche, both large and small ones, and looked at what their top performing videos were over the past 6 or 7 months to see what are people in my niche even wanting to watch. And then I realized that I am spending my time and attention on videos that I am not excited to create and that people are not excited to watch. That's not very smart. What are you doing back there? Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Oh, baby. Sorry, cat emergency. The cat got its claw caught in one of these things when it was trying to climb the back of my chair. This is Kyla. Hi, baby. And she is just a sweet, sweet girl, aren't you? Where was I? I was only continuing to do these videos because I had started them. And that's not a good enough reason. However, I'm only ditching one of them completely. 2 of them are panning projects, so they're kind of similar, and they are long-term panning projects. So I am going to start updating those every other month. And so that means I now only have 1 scheduled video on my calendar each month, and that's in the 3rd week of the month. I have wanted to do a monthly faves and fails video for at least a year, and I've never been able to fit it in. And now I can, but I've learned my lesson. And it is going to be either an every other month or maybe even a quarterly video. I'm not setting myself up with another monthly video. And so I think I've learned something about myself, and that is that I get bored easily and I need variety and novelty. I don't know if you can hear my daughter's rooster in the background. That is Owl. All of her chickens are named after Winnie the Pooh characters. My part-time job that I have is I am executive director of our small town community theater. And that job is perfect because it is something different all the time. I have duties in finance, marketing, graphic design, social media, building management, customer service, basic office administration. Every day is different. There's always a new show to get ready for, and I absolutely love it. So in the future, I'm going to keep an eye out for that kind of thing creeping in again, because it does kind of creep in. You start one video series and then you add another and then you add another, and before you realize it, every video you're doing is simply an update to something. There's nothing new and fresh, and a channel really needs that. The other thing I have realized is that in some cases I'm holding on to these recurring videos because they're easier for me. The format is set. I don't have to think too hard or plan too much. I can pretty much just decide I'm going to film and sit down and film one of those without very much prep time at all. And I do think it's good to have some things that you can do that with. But for me, after 6 months of it, it felt stale. And if it feels stale for me and I'm bored filming it, then my audience is likely to be bored watching it, if for no other reason that my energy is going to be off. And I think the audience can pick that up if you're not excited about what you're filming. So I'm going to wade back into the exploded Trapper notebook on my dining room table and see if I can make some sense about what I've been learning about myself and about my channel, and try that content calendar again. This time with videos I want to make and that I'm excited to make. If you want to make sure you see those changes and where my channel is headed, then you know what to do. As for the other assignments I gave myself last week, one of them was to reorganize my playlist, and I did start this. I've deleted a few that were redundant, moved some recent videos into playlists where they made more sense, but I realized I have 299 videos, which shocked me. And so this is actually a much bigger project than I realized when I gave this assignment to myself, and it's going to take a little more time. And it was when I was doing this project that I did the deep dive into my content to see what was doing well and what was stinking up the place. And I got a little distracted. So that is going to be something that will continue as I have time. And then the other assignment I had was to plan my videos more carefully, focusing on the intro, especially the first 8 seconds of the hook, and then the setup, and then also the outro getting out quick so that we didn't have that huge fall off at the end. I did do this for the second video I put up last week. This was one of those recurring ones that I am going to be shifting to an every other month schedule. The next video I put up, however, was filmed before the assignment was given, so there's not much I can do with that one. And then the video after that is the one that I intend to redo the intro and outro so I can at least work with those two pieces of it. And the final assignment was to fully plan that content calendar for July. And I've already talked enough about that. So this one's going to get carried over to next week. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the analytics. So if we go to the Earn tab, this is where you'll see your progress towards monetization. And you can see that this week I have 1,181 subs and 3,343 watch hours. One thing to keep in mind here is that the watch time on this tab is about 5 days behind your real-time statistics. I think it's so that YouTube has time to go through their bot programs and that kind of stuff to evaluate to make sure that they are valid watch time and not paid for or whatever. Last week, I had 1,176 subscribers and 3,317 watch hours. So that was a net gain of 26 watch hours. Looking at my analytics for the last 7 days, can we just take a moment to appreciate all of those beautiful green up arrows? It was really nice to see. My last 7 days views was 1.1 thousand, and that is up 47% from last week. My watch time was 116 hours, up 101% from last week. We're going to talk a little bit more about watch hours in just a second. And I increased 7 subs in the past week. Compare that to last week of 737 views and 57.5 watch hours, and you can see that I almost doubled my performance. Now, you may remember that on that first slide, I had gained a net of 26 watch hours. And yet this says I had 116 watch hours. Well, part of that is because that one slide is 5 days behind and this is real time. But the other thing is because my channel's been around for more than a year, I only receive the net watch time of today's watch hours over what I had a year ago, because there's a 365-day bucket. And each time the calendar clicks over to another day, you gain the watch time on this side and you lose it on this one. So even though I might have had 50 hours of watch time today, if I had 30 last year on this date, I only get a net of 20. Try to get your channels monetized in the first year, if at all possible. I wish I had understood that better and focused more on watch time than on subscribers. So overall, it was a really positive week and I'm very excited about it. Let's talk about next week. And these assignments, by the way, are cumulative. I'm still thinking about goals and purpose and that kind of thing. And I'm still planning my content. And now this week we're adding packaging. Mr. Beast says, if people don't click, they don't watch. I discovered April Lynn Alter last week when I was doing some research on intros. I watched her how to make a killer intro video. So good. And that led me into her how to make a killer thumbnail video, which was also really good. I even revamped a couple of thumbnails based on what I learned in that video. It's too soon to know if it made any difference or not, but I wanted to put some of the things into practice before I forgot about them. There is so much good in these 2 videos. If you haven't watched them, I will link them in the description box down below. So anyway, I am going to apply what I've learned from these 2 videos to the titles and thumbnails for the next 2 videos that I have coming up that are already basically in post-production. I'm also going to use some of the intro stuff for the one I told you I had to redo the intro. And then I'm going to commit to nailing down the packaging for a video before I script it and film it. Do you ever have those moments when you're researching something and you start to see the same information repeated in a couple of different sources and you're like, maybe that's important? That's what happened this week. I mentioned that I'm listening to the audiobook for Save the Cat. I will link that book also down in the description box below. It is intended for screenwriters and not everything is applicable to a YouTube video, but it's kind of amazing how much is. And one of the things he said in that was, if you cannot distill your screenplay into a 1-sentence logline, you don't have a very good screenplay. Youch. But in the April Lynn videos, Mr. Beast also said, if you can't distill your video into one question or idea that you can represent in your title and thumbnail, then you don't have a good video idea. And seriously, that was brutal. But sometimes you need brutal to get better. And surprisingly, by getting rid of some of these things that have been weighing me down, my creativity has been kicking in. the past couple of weeks, and I started carrying around a little spiral notebook because I have had 2 video ideas drop into my head pretty much fully formed, outline and all, that I can give a 1-sentence question or idea and imagine what the thumbnail is going to look like and what the title is going to be. And it's kind of incredible. I don't know if they'll perform well when I get them up, but guess which 2 videos I'm making first in my revamp? And that just led to my frustration because I had all of these videos that I had to film at the end of the month that were getting in the way of me being able to film these that I was excited about. And then I thought, why? Who says? This is my channel. I can do what I want. Yes, I'm doing it for the viewer as well. And I hope that you like my new ideas. But if I'm not also enjoying the process, then why am I even here? So to wrap up, this week's assignments are title and thumbnail. Study them, learn about them, plan them first. I have heard this advice over and over and over, and I have resisted until now. And now I'm going to try it and see how it works. So if you want to join in on this week's assignments about learning more about packaging your videos, then watch the videos I've linked below. If you have some great thumbnail and title videos as well, I would love to hear about them down in the comments. And then let's discuss what stood out to you. What was the one remarkable thing that you learned about thumbnails and titles this week? And what changes do you plan to make moving forward? See you next week.